There is other podcasts. There is other people talking nonsense. See, right now I saw something where Akademiks interviewed Durk, and little Durk, who's a rising star king of this time, he made him answer what he thought about Gunna. That's the oldest trick in the book in hip-hop journalism. Now, Durk jumps out and says, yo, I'm not. Now, these two people don't like each other for the rest of their life. But this is the type of entrapment, East Coast, West Coast beef, Vibe magazine, Source magazine shit they've been doing.
Let's cut that shit short right there. Yo, Fat Joe, you can play this clip. Anybody can play this clip too. I want you to answer these questions because I'll answer yours. I don't know about that Vibe magazine, Source magazine shit. I have a thought about it, but I wasn't there. I wasn't really like prevalent in the space at the moment to really make my own opinion on what they added. The narrative is that they fueled that beef when everybody was saying there was no beef, right? I don't know if there was undertones. I don't know. I can only speak about my situation. So anybody I can clip this, send that to that nigga. I'm going to ask you some questions since you have an opinion about what I did. You said you want to stay in the positivity. This is my problem with all rappers, and this is why a lot of y'all rappers make horrible media personalities. You don't get, whether it's Fat Joe, Ja Rule, it could be Jesus. You don't get to preach and capitalize off sneak dissing, off of subliminal shit that's all enticing. You see, the thing with Fat Joe, he don't realize that the reason why I asked that question about Gunna is because a popular snippet that Lil Durk put out. So let me put you up to speed, Mr. Fat Joe, because you're not that, I keep saying you're not tapped in. This is reason why, like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all got the mature audience. Good with that. But this is why I know kids gonna watch y'all. Because y'all talking about some shit, y'all don't know what's going on. So Lil Durk dropped this. Lil Durk, what was it? Let me see if I can find the song. Okay, here we go. For you to understand why I asked that question, listen, Fat Joe, I know all the rappers who slapped each other behind the scenes, robbed each other. I know a nigga who literally got his chain took by another nigga and had to send that shit back after another nigga got involved. I know all the shit that happened. I'm not bringing this shit to the light because honestly, I'm not really here to fuel beef as y'all might think. However, this is the disingenuity of people like you that are former rappers coming into the media space. You can't hype up killing, hype up beef when even the fans, like, nigga, we not from Chicago. We know what the fuck you're talking about. We're not like really in tune with these behind the scenes situations, but these guys are rapping about it, tweeting about it. Why do you think why do you blame the media if they ask about it? Listen to the snippet. And by the way, I guess this will be point A that I want Fat Joe to answer to, Mr. Fat Joe. And I'm keeping it respectful. I don't want nobody to say I don't have no respect for my elders because I love Fat Joe in reality. But I do have to just be fair. Fat Joe, the reason why I asked about Gunna, right, is because Lil Durk, who stated when I was speaking about all these other things, he says he hated rats. Now everybody has had whatever questionable stance or they're waiting to see what happened with Gunna. Then Lil Durk dropped this snippet, very viral. Everybody was talking about it.
That from BBL, what happened to Virgil, we probably gon' tell. I let him go because Timo ain't selling. Like 7 and Booker, no.
Let me play it again. I don't think that Fat Joe has ever seen this in his life. And this is where I come in with other niggas who don't pay attention to hip hop. We're not digging up shit that rappers ain't talking about. He's saying what happened. Let me break it down to Fat Joe. Because again, Fat Joe probably never even heard the song. Fat Joe is out of touch. Like, he don't know what about what. So I'm going to put him in touch. Lil Durk did a song with Gunna. I'm going to click on the song. I don't even need to play it. What Happened to Virgil featuring Gunna. Unprovoked, after these allegations of cooperating. And now I don't want to hear, and I'll make this number 2. Fat Joe, I'm gonna tell you why fans and media outlets care about quote unquote snitching. Because y'all build a false reputation off of being real niggas. So if y'all are selling an identity and an image to kids that y'all are the realest, y'all hate this and third, if information comes about that says you may have not been the person that you have portrayed to be, why the fuck will we not talk about it?
So I would be remiss if I did not talk about this Fat Joe basically addressing everything Lil Durk had to say on Gunna on the Akademiks interview. I don't know how I missed it. This shit happened 4 days ago. I don't know where I was at. I was covering all of the coverage. Well, at least I thought I was getting all of the coverage, but Fat Joe just slipped this up under me like a homeless man under a bridge. Now, in the clip, Fat Joe talks about how Akademiks is basically pulling the same tactics that magazines like Vibe and The Source used to pull when the whole East Coast, West Coast thing was going on and ultimately led to 2 passings of a legend of Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac. So he's basically doing the same antagonizing methods that those journalists used to do, basically having a man talk about somebody and staying in a relationship forever. And that's honestly, at the end of the day, it's a lot of people out here calling Gunna a snitch, and Gunna ain't that hard of a rapper or artist or street nigga, to be honest. He's not Pac or Biggie to even really respond to it. I don't even think Gunna's gonna say anything. He was just spotted at the Miami Heat game. He was at game 6, that crazy ass game. Did y'all watch that game? I watched that fucking game. I was rooting for the Heat. I'm a big Chicago Bulls fan. Jimmy Butler, I've been following him his whole career. I don't know what's going on in these last 3 games. Like, it's either he got a wire, because he's choking right now. The NBA wired some type of money to him. Hey, we need a game 7 off of this because LeBron just got swept, so we need to make more money off these Eastern Conference and these Western Conference playoffs. And so sorry, y'all just gonna have to play a game 7, which they unfortunately are, because of Derek White's tip-in at 0.1 of a second. Now, it's something on Twitter going around talking about the NBA's rigged because it was 2.1 seconds left and then they added 0.9 of a second. So that 0.9 of a second is really important right now. But anyways, this isn't about basketball. If anything, I'm being like most of these albums nowadays and giving y'all fillers just to fill in the time. But yeah, Fat Joe said what he said, and Act hopped on his stream today and he basically responded saying, hey, look, he has all respect for the OG, but he's not doing anything or asking any questions that nobody on the internet or everybody on the internet wanted to know. Like, everybody on the internet wanted to know what everybody on the internet wanted to know what Lil Durk felt about Gunna, wanted to know his thoughts on NBA Youngboy Lil Tim, and Act asked those questions and Durk answered. So at the end of the day, we can't be mad at Act for asking those questions that everybody wants the answers to, and we can't be mad at Durk for giving his response and being as real and as open as he possibly was. So at the end of the day, props to DJ Akademiks for getting that Durk interview, because it's been content all throughout that shit. So even 4 days later, I'm still making videos about it. But regardless of it, Fat Joe just, you know, he's commentating right now. He's not really making any music, you know. He's not going to give us a all the way up or lean back anymore. He's just being an OG, celebrating hip-hop like he is, and still talking about hip-hop like most of these OGs are now. Shout out to Joe Budden, the Podfather, for giving these guys the lane to really speak and still be relevant. Because if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for hip-hop commentary, there would be no music and we wouldn't know anything about Fat Joe or a lot of the OGs that we see often nowadays. So shout out to Joe Budden, the Podfather. Anyways, what are your thoughts on everything Fat Joe had to say? What are your thoughts on everything DJ Akademiks had to say in response? I am Savvy Mike. This is I Am Savvy Mike TV. Peace.